No todos los héroes llevan capa, algunos solo llevan lápiz y papel para hacer las preguntas correctas. Zona 24/7 no se quiere quedar atrás, por lo que hemos decidido entrar de lleno al multiverso para traerles una sección dedicada al mundo de los cómics y los superhéroes. Datos curiosos, entrevistas con los creadores y mucho, mucho más. Podría ser esto todo el día. Los dejamos hoy con nuestro amigo y presentador Jaime Carreño, que en esta ocasión tuvo la oportunidad de charlar con Steven Englehart, escritor estadounidense, autor de cómics de Marvel y DC como Visión y la Bruja Escarlata, Batman, Los Vengadores y muchos, muchos más, para compartirnos su visión sobre la película Doctor Strange en el multiverso de la locura. Esperamos que lo disfruten.
¿Qué tal, amigos? Bueno, pues como lo dijimos, ahora queremos hablar un poquito acerca de la película del Doctor Strange. Y para eso tenemos un invitado de lujo, el gran Steven Englehart, que fue uno de los escritores más prolíficos en Marvel en los 70s y los 80s, y que tuvo un trabajo muy interesante en Doctor Strange. Stephen, thank you very much for being with us today.
Happy to be here.
So let's go into the movie. So tell me, did you see the movie? What do you think about it?
Yeah, I saw the movie. I liked the movie a lot in many places. I thought, I don't know how much spoilers to deal with here. Well, I mean, in the middle, they wanted to introduce all these alternate versions of characters. And it was fun to see them, but the story kind of stopped for 20 minutes while we did that. So I thought, that was kind of a trade-off. I mean, the whole story of Doctor Strange came to a halt while we introduced all these guys so that something could happen to them. I don't know if everybody's seen this movie or not. But otherwise, I mean, I really like Benedict Cumberbatch as Doctor Strange. He really looks like Doctor Strange as I see him. I thought that sequence where they go through the multiverse and turn into different things, including the paint, was really good. The guys who did that, must have had a great time doing that. And so, yeah, I mean, I thought it was a good Marvel movie. I mean, there's things in there that you wouldn't find in non-Marvel movies, but in terms of what they were doing, I thought I was happy with it. I would say also, I would say just, again, I'm going to have to blow it for people who haven't seen it. But I mean, I think everybody probably is aware that the Scarlet Witch ends up being the villain in this. And my whole time with Scarlet Witch, she was a nice person. I liked the Scarlet Witch. I liked Wanda. I liked the Vision, her kids, all that stuff. The bad Wanda came later. So they're drawing from that. And that, not a huge fan of the bad Wanda, but I thought in the context of the movie, it all worked out, fine. I mean, she's a good villain and had a good reasons why she was doing it. And I was pleased to see the kids because, as you may remember, I created the kids and then they were immediately uncreated.
I know.
But now they're back. So that's, so, I mean, again, overall, very happy.
So that takes me to the second question. Your name is mentioned about the people at the end of credits as a recognition for your work. Where do you see your work reflected in the movie beside the Wanda's kids? Because I know, and they are very, very special characters for you. But where do your other things you see your work on Doctor Strange reflected in the movie?
Well, I took Doctor Strange seriously. I mean, I'm not saying that people before me didn't or after me didn't, but when I began to write Doctor Strange, I thought, this guy is not just a superhero who does things instead of Iron Man things with his hands, and he does magic things with his hands. He's the Sorcerer Supreme. And that's got to mean something. He's the only one, and he's knows stuff that people don't know, and all that. So I started reading up on magic just so I would have an idea of what a magical mind would be like. And in general, just made the whole magical thing more serious, serious, taking it seriously, I guess. And that led to like the story where he meets God and the story where he dies and comes back. I mean, it was all kind of larger metaphysical things. And I think a lot of that, I mean, that approach to Strange, I think, is what they're doing in the movie. I mean, he does do things with his hands, and he does, I mean, it's a Marvel movie, and so they kind of, have to balance everything out. But to me, Cumberbatch plays him as a serious guy who's, got a little more weight on his shoulders than a lot of these people do, so it's much like Captain America in that I didn't create Captain America, but I created the Captain America that we have now, right? And I think that Doctor Strange is pretty much the Doctor Strange that Frank Runner and I created out of what was there before. I always tell people that you can't do Doctor Strange without feeling Ditko in there, without seeing Ditko. And I am reminded as we speak that we don't see the weird Ditko reality things in this movie. But so, yeah, I mean, now that you're asking me to think about it, I would say, yeah, it's more my Doctor Strange than Ditko's Doctor Strange in that regard. Again, many people have done Doctor Strange. I can't say, I mean, I sort of set up a template, but other people have done whatever they do. But I'm glad to see it. I was able to talk briefly with Cumberbatch after one of the screening, after this was an Avengers screening, actually, probably Endgame. But I mean, Cumberbatch is smart, and he kind of shows his intelligence if that's what the part calls for. But I mean, you can believe that this guy is the smartest guy in the room, that he knows things that other people don't know. So yeah,
I see. I can see a lot of your work in Frank Bruner's work in Doctor Strange, and of course, obviously, I always say that. Well, Ditko DNA is there. It just needs to be there in a way or another. But without him and Lee, obviously, Doctor Strange won't happen. But anyway, so now let me go to my final question, and I'm just speculating, okay? I want you to think about it, speculating as a writer. Where do you see Doctor Strange is going now, with Clea now showing up right now at the end of the movie? And where do you think that the next phase of the MCU is going? On your speculation, I'm here just speculating.
Well, I mean, it would be speculation. I don't really, they don't involve us comic book people in the movie making. I always say they're very good about giving credit when they get ideas and things from people, but they don't consult with us. I mean, the movie ended with that woman showing up, which the internet tells me that was Clea. I did not know that was Clea. I didn't recognize her as Clea. But in my run and starting with the Ditko run, right? I mean, Clea is his main companion. And so giving him a companion, giving him an alien princess, if that's what she still is, another dimensional princess, can humanize him a little bit. I would assume that we're about to go off and fight somebody in an alternate dimension, because that's where she's from Dormammu's dimension. I don't know if we're going to get Dormammu. And then it also ends with the eye in the middle of his head, which the last time we saw the eye in the middle of his head, that was a bad Doctor Strange. So I was a little confused actually at the end as to whether he had come out of this okay or whether he'd been contaminated by all of that. And now I
share the same like you. I'm not sure if it's because he used a dark hole or he's something dark in him. I'm not sure about.
Yeah. Possibly there is something dark in him, and Clea will bring him back to the light, bring him to feeling stuff. I mean, if I were writing it, if it was the comics and I was writing it, I probably wouldn't know any more than this anyway at this point, because I tend to let characters sort of tell me what they're going to do, right? I mean, I would pick a direction for those two, and then I would see how that Strange and that Clea worked on it. I mean, people always say, well, what were you planning to do on your series after you left it? And it's like, I don't know. I was like, I would have found out when I did it, but I don't know what I would have done because I never plotted that far in advance if I didn't have to. So that's about where I am on the movie. I mean, it's like I can see lines that they could follow, but by the time Strange comes around again, and I don't know whether, since I'm not in charge, I don't know most of it. I don't know whether there's going to be a Doctor Strange 3 or whether he's going to show up as part of an Avengers movie or, where his next appearance will be even. But I guess possibly there's darkness in him and possibly Clea is going to do something about that. And maybe we'll see Dormammu. That's about all I can give you.
Okay, well, and then, so one more extra final question.
Yeah.
Were you excited to see Mr. Fantastic finally there?
Yes and no. He doesn't, this was the alternate universe version, so I don't know if he's going to have a beard when when we get to the real Mr. Fantastic. And the Fantastic Four are 4, so seeing Mr. Fantastic without seeing the rest of them seemed a little odd. I mean, that whole sequence was it was fan service. It's like, here's this character, here's this character, here's this character. It's like, okay, good. And then, I read, because as I'm sure you do, that fans have been demanding this guy to be Mr. Fantastic, which I don't know why. I mean, he doesn't look like Mr. Fantastic to me, but apparently there's been a movement to have him be that. And now the speculation is, was he just Mr. Fantastic for this, or is he going to be the real Mr. Fantastic? I just, they've done 2 movies, only 2, I guess, and they were both terrible. They didn't get it. They didn't get what makes the Fantastic Four the Fantastic Four. I have much more faith in Kevin Feige to turn out a movie that uses the Fantastic Four right. And if he's the guy, then I guess they'll make it work. But he's not the guy I would have seen as Mr. Fantastic. And as I say, I mean, since we're blowing through everything, I thought that stopping to introduce all those characters really brought the story to a halt. Doctor Strange has to stand there for a long time talking to those guys, and not getting anywhere. On the other hand, I thought it was cool the way Wanda killed them all. So
he was.
I mean, good for Wanda. I like Wanda, even, not so much the bad Wanda, but, I like her as a character. So we saw how you can kill Mr. Fantastic. That's one thing. We'll see when we get there. Somebody was saying the other day, because now the She-Hulk trailer has come out, and I was talking to somebody yesterday who was saying, Marvel's really doing all these obscure characters now, Morbius and that's Sony, but I mean, they're doing all.
Yeah, Moon Knight.
And Moon Knight, yeah. Not a fan of the Moon Knight thing, by the way. Had no plot. Had really, had interesting character, Stephen and Mark, and cool gods, but no plot. They just sort of ran around for 6 issues and it was over. 6 episodes. But so I think the Fantastic Four will be an important movie for Marvel to kind of have a core group again, you know, to work with. Eventually, we're going to get more Avengers. I assume Shang-Chi's going to be one. Maybe the She-Hulk's going to be one. I mean, they're kind of building up the people who will be the next Avengers, I think.
Well, the Defenders.
Oh, yeah. Well, maybe so. The Hulk, the She-Hulk instead of the Hulk. That could be. And Namor, they always keep telling me that Namor is like the Submariner is always like.
Common, yeah, it's supposed to be.
He was supposed to be in this movie, but he wasn't. And he's, you know, and it says, so maybe the Defenders would be fun. You know, if they do that. Yeah.
Okay. Well, Stephen, thank you very much for your time. I really appreciate your time for this interview. And we'll see you around. Maybe we can talk later about your thoughts on Moon Knight. Why not? And why you didn't like it.
Okay.
I have mixed feelings about the Moon Knight myself too.
Okay.
Anyway, thank you, Stephen. Thank you very much for your time. Thank you.
Bye.
Take care. Bye-bye.